What's up guys, it's ALLDAYANTHONY and welcome back to the RSX vlog that you hopefully know and hopefully love. Because in today's video, we're making this thing dent free. Let's go. Alright guys, so in the first of many videos in restoring and improving my 2005 Acura RSX, one of the first things I wanted to do was remove all the dents. So today we're going to be knocking out PDR, also known as Paintless Dent Repair. Now you guys have seen this before on the channel with my red Honda Civic where we removed a ton of dents, and there's still a ton of dents left, but for the most part it was a pretty big improvement. Eric of CarMedic is coming out to knock out the RSX today, which in comparison really isn't that bad. There's a handful of dents, but because this is a black car, you pretty much see everything. So I want to make sure that we remove most of the dents, anything that we have access to on the car before going forward, because it's gonna cure my OCD issues with looking at it every single day. So anyways, the car is not super bad. There's a couple dents on the hood here, which will probably get fixed anyways with a respray. And then over here on the door, there's a couple gnarly ones. A lot of them kind of clustered around this area in the middle. Back here on the rear quarter, there's some down there as well. But for the most part, in comparison, it really isn't horrible. But unlike my last video, Eric gave me the go to show you guys more in depth on how he goes about removing these dents. Last time I could only show so much because it's kind of a trade secret. This time he said, let's show him how it's done and let's show him how big of an improvement we can make on the car. Now Eric is literally one of the best guys I know, and he's honestly one of the best PDR guys. I mean, he is the best PDR guy I've ever met. He's an absolute miracle worker, and he was the one that knocked out the PDR in the CRZ, and that was like literally phenomenal. I've never seen anybody completely re-sculpt something the way that he can. So with that said, he's on his way over. I'm sure we'll talk more about the process here in a little bit, but until then, now we wait.
A few moments later.
It's either a good day or a bad day when I see this van. Alright guys, so I got Eric here. I got the barn door behind him that has been in my garage for far too long. I'm going on a year with that thing in here.
Priorities.
Dude,
Cars, barn door. Priorities.
I'm about to burn that thing down, right? You're here, you got everything mounted on the hood, so we're starting with the hood first and we're going to start going around the car. So for this, basically you're getting in with a tool, going on the backside, and then working it in.
Finding some access points and massaging them like always.
Is it better to do PDR in one time of the year, or does it matter really?
No, yeah, summer is nice because it stops the paint from cracking as easy as it would during the wintertime. So
the likelihood for crack is very unlikely,
right?
But summer probably makes it more flexible,
and it makes it more malleable versus having the panels a lot more stiffer when it's hot or cold outside. So
yeah,
it does make it easier, but it makes for longer days because you're sweating your ass off and touching the panels when it's too hot and it burns your skin, you know what I mean? So that's got its highs and lows, put it that way.
And so for this, we had to drop down the under hood, the insulator. And so that was just a couple pop clips. It's really easy to remove. But we're going to go through, so what's the toughest on the car that you've seen so far?
Probably this driver's door. This driver's door has got a little bit of a, kind of a crease, weird dent up high. It's not a bad dent, but up here it's all braced up. So I gotta fight the brace, which limits my tools from all these to maybe 2.
Okay.
So that's kind of the downside to it. But it's really not bad. It's a pretty straightforward repair of this whole car.
The whole point of PDR, I guess just to kind of talk about that, is it doesn't require paint work. That's the whole goal, is to be able to remove dents and not have to go to a body shop and save yourself the money there. You want to try to keep the original paint as much as you possibly can, right? If you can restore it, fix it up, get the dents taken out, adds to the value of the car because it's still the original paint. And honestly, paint work can always be kind of expensive and then hit or miss, right? It can be good, it can be bad.
It can be really bad.
Dude, on the blue car, that was insane what she did.
The bottom rocker,
the bottom, dude. You literally,
that was nasty.
Dude, you rebuilt that door. There's no paint chips. There was no nothing. That whole quarter, everything came out, and it was just incredible. So this is probably more a walk in the park. That was like a 2-day event. So anyways, I'm gonna let him get back to work. I'll kind of stop and talk to him about any cool techniques that I see, you know, along the way. But for the most part, enjoy the montage. So we got ourselves some Modelo's as usual, just to set the vibes. And you know, PDR is a lot more fun, you know, when you start having a couple of beers. But
especially when it's what, 120 in here.
Hood's done, and it looks fantastic. Now the hood, like again, still will need a respray, but now that the dents are taken out, it's kind of bought me some time on doing that. So we'll see how, you know, how soon that gets done. But this door here, holy crap, dude, you're making some good time. So you are getting in there from backside. So you have your window here, right? Interior door panel. So you are in front of the window, but into the metal.
Correct. Yeah, and if you can imagine 2 layers of metal. You got your outside and you got your interior. Okay. And there's about a, call it an inch gap. Okay. So I'm having to sneak under that second layer with this, come up between the first and second layer, and that's what I'm massaging it with this. So with your experience, are all doors typically double metal layer? Yes, from usually about the door handles up, they generally are. Some of them aren't, but most of them are. Because on like the Civic, for example, I know that once you get through that middle section of metal, it's literally just, it's tin can, right? So this right here, you're working up from the top, which you said was slightly more difficult because of that double section of metal there. And but so far, you're in it. I mean, you're in that section. Just picture another obstacle is all it is. I mean, the dent's doable. It's just, that's what dents. You don't know what kind of obstacles you're gonna obviously chase. Yeah. And this is definitely one of them. So, but it's not a big deal. Just takes a little bit longer. That's all it is. Kind of metal divider thing is what that is. So it's called the window shield. Window shield. Okay. So essentially, it's protecting the glass because I'm essentially prying off of the glass. Okay. If that makes any sense. Yeah. To get into. But you're prying off the metal instead of the glass. Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Okay. So it basically, instead of having one pressure point, it evenly distributes that pressure all across the shield. So there's no excuse me. There's no chance of cracking the window or shattering it, anything like that. Okay, so this is a needed thing for something like this. Absolutely. Unless you have the glass out, then you wouldn't need this, but if the glass is in there, you definitely got to have this. Is there a particular car manufacturer where the metal is maybe harder or more difficult? Aluminum. Definitely aluminum is definitely more difficult. Because it bounces back, right? It's got more rigidity, more memory. But BMWs, Audis have really good metal, and I don't want to say it's harder, but it's good metal. It's forgiving. Well, and it just makes sense because like if I ever open up like a BMW door, right, and I close it, right, I can feel that feels heavy. Nice clunk heaviness to it. And I've seen it before where, you know, somebody's, you know, opened a door on, you know, a higher end car such as that, it bounces off and you look and you go, oh, that's a dent for sure, and then you look and there's no dent, right? Everything's fine. Whereas on anything Honda related, anything Japanese related, you know, whether it, you know, it's even something like the Mitsubishi on the Evo, for example, where it just, it's very thin. It just thin. It just dents. And I guess the biggest difference is there's a difference between a door ding where somebody closes a door or opens a door and it bounces off your car, and then also when somebody opens a door and presses it up against your car, right? Correct. So there's a difference there because when somebody opens up their car and leans it up against yours and still causes pressure, that's where you see a lot more of those kind of lined creases. Is that kind of more correct? Yeah, because if you can imagine, the surface area that's being hit is generally this area. Okay, yeah. Because essentially this is the highest point of the door that sticks out. So generally you're going to see about a 2 to 3 inch crease going into the door that you're hitting, and vice versa. So if the door is going to be hitting you, you're going to see about that much of, which you have right here. You can kind of show in the camera. You have little creases up and down this door, which kind of...
They can... Yeah, actually I can see it right here. It's actually... What's funny is it's right on my crotch, so just kind of look that direction, guys.
And you can kind of see like the little bit of a paint transfer, like like what I'm saying. This one's about an inch.
Yep.
This one's a little bit, about 1.5 inches.
Yep.
This one's about 2 inches. So you see those little crease marks from the door, whatever it hits you. It's probably a white car, silver car, anything like that. So it happens. But.
Yeah. And the paint transfer can often be buffed out, right? A little bit of compound can remove that. But it's typically when you have a paint chip and you're getting PDR, that's where you want to be careful on the paint chip, because if you start doing PDR around it, chances are it'll still flex and it'll still work, but you don't want to have to make the chip any worse, right? Because this side has more dents than the other. I'm a dent analyst, Eric. Am I hired? Can I?
Yeah. So I mean, you're kind of right. The majority of the dents happen from the passenger of the vehicle hitting another vehicle, which always ends up being the driver's side. Yeah. Because when you park, obviously, when you're parking in a parking lot, your passenger door is going to be hitting the driver's door. So generally, you're going to see more dents on the driver's side versus the passenger side. Some cars, it does happen pretty evenly on both sides, but generally, what I see is more dents on the driver's side. Due to a lot of it is the passenger doesn't care.
They don't care.
Not their car.
Well, it's they don't care. It's kids.
And the kids
right?
too, exactly. So it's like
train your kids. Say, hey, whenever you get out that passenger seat, be careful with what's next to you.
Or I've seen those stickers that say they put it right here, and it's like, you don't want your shit ding, don't park close to me. I have kids. Yeah. It's like, get one of those stickers and slap it on right there.
Yeah. So. Well, I saw this video that dude like a Tesla. It was just kind of went viral. The guy gets out of the Tesla, has these giant pool noodles.
I did see that. I seen that.
I was gonna tag you in that. So, anyways, we're gonna keep working on it and go from there. Alright guys, so quick update here. Eric is still hard at work over there, hammering and pulling all these dents, but this side of the car is done. I mean, it looks absolutely incredible. So, fender here, that was all done up there. Door looks awesome. Everything is nice and glassed out. Couple like small shallow things, but they just weren't worth chasing. And then coming here into the rear quarter, this is where I was like, how the heck are we gonna get access to the bottom here? And so he was able to get access into that, as well as pull this top one here, which was a total pain in the ass, right above the gas cap. And I'm guessing it was just a, gas nozzle made the wrong hit. So that's all out there. It looks fantastic. And then right now, he's doing some glue pulling on this section right here on the rear quarter, just because it was easier to glue pull this than pull out all the plastic. So typically, when you're doing this, you can either prep the car already by pulling all the plastics and pulling a lot of the interior stuff just to make it really easy, especially if you have dents all over the car. But in certain situations, they can glue pull certain things. So this right here was a glue pull situation, and then we'll move on to the door, which I think will be having access probably through the top there, just like we did with the other side. But yeah, pretty incredible, man. That's the thing. Black with dents just doesn't work. So the fact that this is all getting nice and glassed out and everything's looking smooth back to its OEM state is getting me pretty excited. I'm like watch it. I'm like, yeah, dude, get that one. This is looking great. Go for that one. Go deeper. it's getting a little, getting a little weird, but you know what? It's fun, man. It's fun seeing this done. Go figure, I was talking to a neighbor and Eric already knocked out the roof dent there, so gone, completely gone. And that was the only dent on the entire roof, unlike the CRZ, which had quite a few dents on the roof and we had to drop the headliner. So this is going pretty damn good, guys. I don't really have any complaints. And then over here on the driver's side front quarter, that dent was taken out right there. And so now Eric is just working on that rear quarter one last time. And dude, glassed out. So this one right here, if you guys have ever wondered, is it possible to remove a dent that is on the A-pillar? And so 9 out of 10 times, Eric, yes, no, maybe so?
Yes and no. It just kind of depends really on how sharp the dent is.
Okay.
When they're too sharp, I can get most of it up, but not all of it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Softer, I can get almost all of it, if not all of it.
So what would you describe this one as?
Probably right in the middle, to be honest with you.
Right in the middle? Okay, so it's
a softer dent, but it's so small, it's almost sharp.
Okay.
If that makes sense?
Yeah.
But
there's no way to get from the backside, necessarily.
not really, no. It's pretty closed off in there.
So a nice hard hit here.
I say, got her, baby.
Dude.
Got her.
No way. One shot? I get nervous about asking you about the last dent because, you know, you never know, right? It could be that last dent that's the hardest thing to remove.
So far, this has been my favorite car of yours to work on, Anthony.
Favorite car?
Favorite car.
Alright, so I guess that means I have to keep it around, right? So when I get some more dents that Eric's like, oh, it's a walk in the park. Yeah, you just never know what you're gonna get, man. So we'll do a quick outro with Eric, kind of, you know, go over the last bit of discussion on a couple of the key takeaways when looking for somebody that can do PDR, and then he'll be on his way. So yeah, I'm amazed. All right, guys, so Eric had to take off a little early, so I'm gonna finish the final thoughts myself here on the PDR job. Now, some of you guys are probably watching this thinking that I'm crazy for removing all the dents on the car, especially something that's 17 years old. While other people might see this and say, hey, that's not a bad idea. How much does it cost? How much am I gonna be into it compared to bodywork? Things such as that. PDR, depending on where you live, it could be anywhere from 20 to 50 bucks a dent. You could pay up to $1,000 to get all the dents removed, but I would say roughly kind of that middle ground on PDR for an entire car, if it's not hail damage, probably would be maybe around $1,000 if that's what you wanted to do. In this case, because I only had just a handful, it was far less than that, but it could be far more than that depending on the dent, where it is, and how much time they have to spend accessing that panel. Whether they have to remove plastic parts off your car, whether they have to drill something, anything like that can add up to the cost. So it's kind of a cost per hour, cost per dent, and then just the overall time and labor that goes into it. So for this car, it's worth it for me. I think the RSX is gonna turn out absolutely awesome. The fact that I can walk around the car now and not see all the dents is huge for me, and I think that you guys will appreciate it once the work is done. So anyways, Eric at CarMedic, hit him up if you're local. He's one of the best in the business. There's other CarMedic PDR specialists out in the country if you want to go through them. If you're outside of the country, Google PDR specialist near you, and I'm sure you'll be able to make something work. So as always, if you guys like this kind of content and like the Acura RSX, make sure to give me a big thumbs up, subscribe down below for more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. It's ALLDAYANTHONY. Peace.